Your brain is only 2% of your body weight, and it burns about 20% of your energy. Most of us want to perform at our best, and we want our brain to be on high energy for productivity. When that energy of your brain lands on empty or it is on the wrong fuel, then you find focus disappear, decision making becomes slow, and even memory becomes foggy. So things that are obvious become difficult to remember. And the good news I want to give you and share with you in this video is that you can always change that by very simple ways that you can adopt your brain to be always at high performance. So for those who want to be having high output, your brain and your cognition is on its best, then know that you're in the right place. Specific nutrients change the biochemistry of your neurons, and this is within days to weeks. So in this video, I break down the exact science of the brain food for high cognitive performance. And you can use this from your next meal to start high performance. I'm Dr. Joshua Derito, a family physician. I have interest in public health, cancer prevention, and treatment. So let's dive in. Most people treat their brain like a black box. The stress of everyday life is with all of us. We consume the ultra-processed packaged food, and these nutrients, they raise inflammation and lower our brain-derived natriuretic factor, the brain growth fertilizer. So what happens when those are the kind of food that you are consuming when you are on constant stress? Then you have persistent brain fog. You have poor executive functioning, and then you have faster aging of your brain. And this has been shown even on imaging when MRIs of the brain of people who knowledge their brains like that are taken. The good news is the same pathways that lead to this brain decline can be reversed. A distinct blood nutrient profile, the omega-3s, as a nutrient we call choline, the carotenoids, the vitamin A. These, they predict lower brain aging and better cognitive performance. So we talk about the Mediterranean style patterns of diet and other targeted food repeatedly show up in the data for brain improvement. When we talk about the Mediterranean diet, we are talking about a diet that is rich in vegetables and fruit. So half of your plate is composed of vegetables, and especially all types and all fruit of different colors. Then a quarter of that plate is proteins, lean meat or plant proteins, and then we have whole nourishing grains, the starches. So embrace this diet for better performance of your brain. So there are foods that stabilize your nerve membranes and the energy. So neurons are lipid membranes. They are packed with a molecule called the DHA and EPA, and these keep the membrane fluid so that receptor in ion channels work properly. Those are lipid molecules that cover the outer part of your neurons. So they dampen neuroinflammation and make sure that the communication between the different neurons or our body and our nervous system is made of millions of interconnections of nerves. These nerves are the messengers in your body. They transmit information from different parts of their body, and they guide and how your brain responds, and how also the commands from your brain are received by the rest of the body. So creatine acts as a rapid energy buffer in high demand regions, the frontal cortex. That is the part of your brain that is involved most of thinking, decision making, and the creatine is also used a lot by muscles, and you find that people who build muscles, they consume a lot of creatine to help build muscle, but now muscle consumes it very aggressively, like it is starving, and especially when you're doing high strength exercises. So for you to to have enough for your muscles and have enough for your brain, then you must consume adequate amounts of creatine. And it is found mostly in animal proteins. So there's another product which I've talked about before. You can check in the Overall Health YouTube channel. It's called choline. And it is the raw material for the transmitter called acetylcholine. This is the neurotransmitter for focus and attention. So when you consume adequate amounts of choline, then you are able to have the connections between your nerves very, very well coordinated. And so you have focus and you have attention. So this is found mostly in fatty fish, and you need to consume meaningful amounts of EPA and DHA. And you can get this from things like eggs, especially the yolks. And that's why a breakfast well packed with proteins like eggs or the fatty fish is a good start for your day. And creatine monohydrate is happens to be low if your diet is low in meat. So simple local options, taking things like omena or other small fish, eggs, nuts, seeds. These all supply your brain with creatine, and they supply choline, which you really need for better cognitive performance. Then there is what we call the antioxidant and the signaling pathways in your brain. I've talked before about what are antioxidants in a previous video in the Overall Health. You can check on it, and you know what are antioxidants and why we need them in our body. We talked about the oxidative stress, and this is low grade inflammation that some molecules in your body, especially when you eat the ultra processed foods, you are smoking, are exposed to air pollution in the places where you work, or even when you are walking around in the environment. These cause processes in your body that release what we call oxidative stress. Electrons in your molecules in your body lose some electrons that make them supercharged, and they need an antioxidant to help give them that extra electron that is missing, so that they do not steal those electrons from your DNA and then starting a cascade. And especially when this is too much in your body, it can start a cancer development process if you're exposed to so much of these abnormal electrons. So they are what we call the anthocyanins, and these are found in deep berries and even vitamin E, and they protect the membranes, and they also improve your cerebral blood flow, the supply of blood in your brain. Then we have the polyphenols and the B vitamins, which support the neurotransmitter synthesis, and they lower a hormone we call homocysteine. So if you are able to eat adequate amount of blueberries, dark fruits, vegetables, dark leafy green vegetables, they have these important molecules that your brain needs to keep it attentive and to coordinate the performance of your brain and remove these extra electrons, the oxidative stress molecules that could be harming your body, harming your brain. So 1 cup of berries or a large servings of leafy greens daily shows up repeatedly that it helps in better performance in your work, and it keeps you protected from these uh, oxidative stress products. Then let's look at your dietary pattern and how it affects your performance. People have taken supplements to support their nutrition, but isolated pills, when you take them on their own, the results have been mixed. So patterns that deliver the full nutrition matrix. So when you eat different kinds of natural foods, you have a good supply of fruit, a good supply of vegetables. You eat what is called the mild diet or the Mediterranean diet, which I've already described. These green leafy vegetables, the berries, the nuts, the olive oil, or the equivalents, the fish, they help build your brain capacity. Limit the ultra processed foods because they increase these oxidative stress molecules that make you more prone to cancerous processes. So, when you eat this Mediterranean diet, whole foods, rich in fruits and vegetables, then they are consistently been associated with better cognition and slower decline in your brain capacity. So you have the power to keep your brain energized, to keep it functioning at its best with just the natural food that are available in your local market. So let's look at what you can do. In the morning, take proteins and choline sources like eggs, greens or fruits. This will help you keep you in a better position to coordinate your work. Then in your main meal, when you take your lunch, make sure that you have adequate colorful plants, quality fats and protein like fish and legumes, and the heart health oil like extra virgin oil or coconut oil or the avocado oil. Even then, you need to still the energy. Avoid big sugar spikes that impair the next day combination. So make sure you are taking adequate amount of creatine. Make sure you are taking adequate amount of omega 3s. You can you can get them from the fatty fish like omena. You can also get omega 3s from extra virgin oil. And these help you to think better and manage your work in a better way. There's a professional who swapped that late night sugars with this Mediterranean diet and changed from irregular, inconsistent meals to a choline-rich breakfast, daily greens and fish. And within weeks, they found that they have sharper afternoons, they are able to concentrate in their work, they are able to coordinate, and they have better contribution even in meetings, and they were highly productive. So if you want to be productive, you want to be better organized, then the answer could be in your plate. High cognitive output is not magic. It is membrane integrity. It is constant and steady neuronal energy, lower the inflammation in your body, and support your neurons with better neurotransmitters. And this is delivered with real foods. So start with one change this week. What are you going to substitute in your breakfast? Possibly a half eggs or fish plus a colorful plant serving every day, and track how your thinking changes in the next 14 days. If this has helped you, then share it with someone who wants to have a better focus. And I would also encourage you to subscribe to Wellness and Wealth YouTube channel for more tips on how to build your wealth and build also your health in a way that is simple and does not cost you expenses. And if this has touched you, also share it with someone who needs to know how to retain their cognitive output and also maintain their brain capacity long into their old age. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the Wellness and Wealth channel because one brain food could start and change your trajectory. Thank you for watching. We meet in the next one.